Content warning. Flashing lights and images, sudden or fast change in colors, fast moving images and patterns. While you may technically be moving forward, evolution in play feels more like a floating fall. Further into the darkness, enemies await, and all you can do is glide around and hope to hit some. Evolution was developed by System Sacom for the FM Towns in March of 1989. It's actually a very early FM Towns game, as the FM Towns was just released February 28th of that year. Also of note are the two developers who worked on the game, Mark Flint and Manabu Saito. Mark Flint, the programmer, famous in the retro Japanese PC gaming scene as being one of the best programmers of the time, and Manabu Saito, the composer, known in that scene as having created some of the most memorable music of the time. So with all these factors, what is Evolution? Evolution is essentially a first-person rail shooter. All you need to do is get through each stage without running out of energy, which is constantly depleting, further depleted when crashing into a wall or enemy. The only way to gain energy is to shoot enemies. You can move around, slow or speed up your momentum, and that's pretty much it. Even with such a limited set of variables, Evolution is effective at what it does. At first, play is disorienting. You begin in darkness with no context for what is happening. On the edges of your view are a plethora of lights blinking, filling and emptying out seemingly without reason. Hitting enemies and being hit by enemies flashes the screen. A first-person perspective that pushes on the player, flowing through tunnels made of what seems to be consecutive rows of flat walls, creating the illusion of 3D. Low visibility, having enemies appear and move quickly. A soundtrack that shifts between a strange sense of wonder and fear. Its entire presentation an onslaught of stimulus, resulting in a stressful, at times even a little creepy experience. Gradually, you get accustomed to the mechanics of the game. The lights around the screen indicate your energy, movement, and speed. You shoot orbs at enemies, but aiming is rough. You have to be able to lead the shot by moving to where the bullet will collide with the enemy, but that moves you towards the enemy's trajectory. Momentum pushes you forward, and while slowing down helps you aim your shots or avoid enemies, it wastes precious energy needed to finish the stage. There are also invisible walls that stop and hurt you if you go into the wrong one, serving as basic trial and error obstacles. All this at first seems to encourage a completely evasive style of action. The problem is you must fight to have enough energy to survive. But you also can't go after every single enemy. You won't be fast enough to reach them, and instead will just end up getting yourself hurt. What you come to find is that hit and run tactics work best. You need to adapt to the enemy's rhythm to weave in and out of danger. The enemies that are closest you try to hit and then move on to the next one. You'll miss a decent chunk of the time, but you just keep moving forward. As you do this, you increasingly remember where to slow down and which paths to take to avoid invisible walls. Evolution asks the player to make the stress of its play manageable, and then lets the player go. Once you gain the confidence and skill to go through all 5 stages, that won't really change. It is not a game interested in keeping you in that stressful emotional state, as the levels are set. You could play over again keeping your score, but there's not much else in the game. There is no story to speak of in Evolution. It's here where the title becomes a question, and the context of its release offers an explanation. Being such an early release for the FM Towns, Evolution, with its CD audio and first-person 3D perspective, attempts to show off the computer's technical capabilities, and evolution in hardware. This explains what happens at the end of levels. When you finish each level, you float into a letter. Once you reach the end of the game and put all the letters together, what do you get? Towns, as in FM Towns. Despite its tech demo leanings, the game is cohesive because of it. There's this excitement that flows through the game. An excitement in the possibilities of the hardware from its 3D visuals and CD audio. At the beginning, from the stress of everything being thrown at you, to the end where you can confidently process it all and throw it back into the game. Even though the game just repeats after the end, I went through it one more time when I finished the game, plunging further into the depths. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting me on Patreon or Ko-fi. Patreon is if you want to support me monthly, and Ko-fi is for one-time support. These videos wouldn't be possible without the generous support of my patrons and Ko-fis. Any amount helps this channel keep going. Anyways, here's my Twitter, my Instagram, my channel link if you want to subscribe, and some other videos I've made. Well, that's all I had to say. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you around.